Right, welcome today to UK Casual Talks 2 series. Gary Boatsy Clarke. I interviewed Gary, I think it was over a year ago now, possibly, Gary. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, we've done a few, but we did it. We did one on Italia 90 before, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. So basically, while you're back on the show, is that there is a show coming up called on Channel 4 on Italia 90 called When Football Changed Forever, which first airs on the 31st of October, and then it airs again on the 7th of November, and then the 14th of November. So why I've got you on the show today, Gary, is I understand you've took part in it, so you can give us a bit of insight into it, mate.
Yeah. They got in touch with me about 6 months ago. They've done a three-part documentary. Runs from about 85 up to Italia 90. It's basically about the 80s. Casual started early 80s, late 70s, whatever. And then they wanted to get across out of the probably the worst part of British football, about 85, with all the disasters. Those was a bit later, but Bradford Fire, stuff like that. How it was really ISIL Stadium. British football was really at its lowest, in the doldrums, and we got banned from Europe for 5 years. There was touch and go whether it was going to allow us to play in Italia 90 with everything going off in Britain. Yeah, the ISIL Stadium. So it basically, the series is from about 85 to accumulating in Italia 90, three parts. They wanted to get across our British football was at its lowest ebb ever. And then Italia 90 basically changed it, and got it. I think that was after the Italia 90, no one expected us to do quite well as what we did. Before we get thrown out of the tournament because hooliganism was rife.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, after Sardinia, it started off pretty bad, didn't it? But after that, the teams went on to the semi-final, should really won the World Cup, and the fans were really quite well behaved. A bit of trouble at the semi-final, but and British football come out the other side after Italia 90, didn't it? And then you had the birth of the Premier League, 91, 92. I don't think if things had gone tits up in Italia 90, you might not have seen the Premier League.
No, I think for me, Gary, because I was born in 76, Italia 90 was when I came of age and I could have a beer and I realised what the World Cup was all about. And and like you say, the England mob did get sort of sent off to Sardinia to get them out of the way. And to be fair to the Italian police, that did work. But not only that, from what I understand from back then, is the Italian police also treated the England fans a little bit differently from what other countries' police force have done. Because let's face it, England did make a rod for our own back, didn't we?
Oh yeah, without a doubt, mate. Without a doubt. Yeah, my recollections. It was a great World Cup. It's probably the best I've ever been to or watched, really, from an England point of view. You know what I mean? Because we got to the semi-final, played some good stuff. Cracking semi-final, shouldn't really have lost it. Should have got to the final. Probably would have won it if they'd have got to the final. They're basically putting across how it changed the English game for the good, for the better. So it's three parts, basically, from 85 running up to Italia 90. So it looks pretty good. I did a day's filming in Manchester, took me up to an hotel, whatever, on the train, did a full day's filming up there, and I was off to Italy a few days later to interview police officers that were involved in the tournament, ex-footballers, so they've done it all properly. They had no expense spared, really. So I think this is going to be a really good programme.
Yeah, no, it looks a really good programme, and like I said, for me with Italia 90, me coming of age, and you had Terry Butcher and Chris Waddle doing the dance. The matches, and Gaza crying, of course. Nessun Dorma was a great soundtrack.
Well, the soundtrack. It had everything, didn't it? Even to this day, it still gives me goosebumps listening to all that. to this day.
Not only that, I think that the World Cup song we had, which was "World in Motion" by New
Zealand, that as well.
Was probably the first decent football tune that was ever invented. It's fantastic, wasn't it?
That's right, mate. Yeah. It was. Everything about it, everything about it was brilliant, wasn't it? I could watch documentaries, read books about it to this day. I never tire of Italian Niner, even to this day. It's just a shame we went out on penalties. You know what I mean?
The old story, of England and penalties. It never goes well. Now, I have. This is just a rumor, but do you remember the John Barnes rap bit in "World in Motion"?
Yeah, I do, mate. Yeah,
I heard Peter. I've heard there's. I'm going to try and find it. I've heard there's that Peter Beardsley had a go at doing it. So,
God, yeah.
I don't think that would have been quite the same, would it?
No, I mean the producers have sent me a couple of trailers in the week. I put it out on social media, but I obviously I noticed John Barnes was interviewed in this documentary as well. So they've been sending me a couple of liveness to tease people like. So it should be pretty good.
Yeah, no, I think it's actually great that they show you that from '85 when hooliganism was rife. Every club up and down the country, didn't matter how big or how small the club was, pretty much had that night in Luton when Luton played Millwall in the FA Cup.
Yeah, there's that. That's right. That night, Luton, that happened, didn't it? And
that changed things, didn't it?
Yeah. There was that Luton riot, the Bradford fire.
Yeah,
I remember I was the day of the Luton Millwall game. I got sent down to North Sea Camp that actual day. A load of us Forest Derby and Leicester lads, because we had a big tear up in Nottingham Square the year before, and it went on for months. And I can remember the first night in there, that was the Luton Millwall riot, and then the Bradford fire happened, didn't it? And then the Leeds kid got killed at Birmingham, the wall collapsed, didn't it?
That's right,
all in the end of that season, wasn't it? So I mean, British football was on its knees, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then obviously you had Hillsborough not long after. We had Germany '88, which England didn't do very well in, and there was trouble all over Germany in that one as well. Yeah. So I think British football was at its lowest, wasn't it? You know what I mean? So, and Italian United, like you say, I think they're right with the title. It did change the British football.
Yeah, and I just think that, like you say, if Italian 90 hadn't been, because even though we didn't win, we got to the semi-final. It was a very successful.
Felt like winning, though, didn't it? Successful tournament. Bobby Robson, what a manager he was.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like you say, the music and everything about it. You know what I mean. The World Cup song. You had the Pavarotti. You know what I mean. I can remember being in Sorrento before the Naples game against Cameroon the night before. We was just in this English bar in the middle of Sorrento, like all these Huddersfield lads, and we just played that World in Motion, not constantly all night. What a vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, like I say, because I think before that, the England World Cup football songs were always a bit naff. Always.
Yeah. I did like the '82 one. But I did like that main one, but they've all been a bit naff, like you say, haven't they? That was the first real good one, wasn't it? Really.
I think to get New Order in was
a
spoof.
Top fan, wasn't they? You know what I mean? So.
And also when the England squad came home and Gazza was wearing the fake breast and that.
Yeah,
would have thought that England had won the World Cup, wouldn't you?
No, how many people was at Luton Airport?
It was absolutely fantastic. I just think, like you said, English football or British football, could have gone a very different way if it had been for Italian.
Well, that's it. That's what they're trying to get the point across in this documentary. It could have gone the opposite way. We could have got chucked out of the tournament. Could have got further banned from Europe. You know what I mean? English clubs were allowed back in Europe after that, weren't they? You know what I mean? So it could have gone a completely opposite way, and it didn't, did it? It went the right way. You know, we got back, and the birth of the Premier League was a couple of years later. You know, and all the money's come into British football since, hasn't it? You know what I mean? So,
how just speaking on all the money that's coming in into British football, how do you feel about that, Gary?
I don't know. I think they gave Forest too much money this summer, don't you? all the signings we made. So
Yeah,
I think it's.
I don't know. I think it's. I don't know how to explain it. A two-sided coin. It's good and bad.
I get that. You know, I mean, Forest have been spoilt with all the money they've been given, haven't they? Well, our owners that gave it us, but obviously we've got a big payday for getting promotion, didn't we? I think it was worth about 170 million. But we're on that roller coaster now. If we get relegated, we're not looking too clever at the moment. But if we do go down, you've still got that money coming in, haven't you? We'll be challenging next year if we do go down.
Yeah, so at least we're always good.
Yeah, it took a long time for us to get where we are. You know what I mean? 23 years.
Yeah. At least we're on that ladder with the pyramid, how it is, I think the money should be fed down to the lower clubs. Can you just tell us a little bit about the filming you did and what was asked of you and it was basically I got into football being a football casual. You know, I got into football originally from the early 70s when I first started going. What made me become a football casual? Following England, you know, they spoke about Germany '88, my first England games away in mid-80s. Basically going from growing up, you know, I was there for filming for about 8 hours, you know, with the producers and everything, and they just went through my history of following football, really, up to Italia 90. And then we spoke a bit about Carlton Town and what I'm doing these days. I don't know how much still going to show on the show. Obviously, they probably clips every week. Of course, they always do.
But I mean, they've interviewed that many people. I mean, when you do 8 hours of filming, they're probably only going to use 15 minutes of it. You know what I mean? That's how it works. But basically, it's just going out. I've been a football fan all my life, and you know, and I was a bit naughty back in the day, which you know I didn't mind talking about because it's a British subculture. You know,
it's your past as well, Gary.
Yeah, it's your past. Yeah,
it's not your future. Which is very good, and I think that to show it over 3 parts, I think it's going to be a very good program. So we'll come on to Carlton Town. So really, how I would explain you is you've gone the other side of the fence now, Gary, haven't you?
That's right.
You're part of running the club.
Well, I'm marketing and commercial manager. I help with the fundraising side of things off the pitch. You know, good friends with the chairman, Mick Garton. And he invited me on board just over a year ago now. I love it. I got the bug. It's because of COVID, really. We started going down here a bit more.
Right.
And sadly, because of COVID, we lost the commercial manager through COVID. So we left it a bit. Mick left it a while, obviously out of respect to the family and everybody else at the club.
Yeah.
And then there was obviously a vacancy and a void, and Mick seeing that I know a lot of people, contacts and stuff, and I can raise a few quid. So Mick asked me if I fancied doing it. I said, yeah, brilliant. I just felt a privilege to do it. You know what I mean? I'm quite enjoying it.
I've actually seen the chairman on the Proper Football podcast.
Yeah, the Proper Football show. Yeah.
So he wasn't bothered about your past at all.
No, Mick knows I've moved on. He knows that. You know, he did say he has admitted he's had one or two people ask the question. You know what I mean? But he had total faith in me, and he knows that's all in the past, which is great, really, isn't it? You know what I mean? Because people still look down on you. I know people look down on me.
Of course they do. Yeah.
You know what I mean? They'll never get it, will they? You know what I mean? So, but I've got a lot of friends nowadays that's never been into that side of things, and everyone trusts you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he had faith in me, which I'm over the moon about as well. You know, and he knows I can do a good job. So, and it's a team effort as well. So I'm enjoying it. So fair play to Mick Garton for getting me on board. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I see.
I'm in the process of doing another book at the moment. It's going to be more about how my life's changed. I'm doing it with another guy who works for a charity that had a bit of a checkered past in Nottingham as well. Who's also a mutual friend of the chairman, who I met at Carlton Town. He lives in Spain at the moment, but he's coming back over to here to start afresh. And he runs a world global charity that I've been working for, that I'm a patron of. So we're going to do a book together about how our lives have changed after. There's still going to be snippets of the bad days in it, you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
it's where our life's moved on and how we've turned things around, you know what I mean? So in the process, that's in full swing now. It's going to be out next February, I think.
Oh, that's great, because it's always good to know that, yes, you as a young lad, you got up to some naughty stuff, whatever. You wasn't the only one, but you've moved on with your life. And I see your social media now, your Twitter and your Facebook and your Instagram, and a lot of it is based on promoting Carlton Town. I can tell you're really passionate about what you do. And I think that's great.
Yeah, love it, mate.
You're not, and it proves you're not.
It's nice. Yeah. You know what, man. Yeah. I mean, I spoke about this on that Italian documentary. I said it's nice to give something back to football rather than take something out of it, like the bad old. Well, I won't say the bad old days, but some people say the bad old days. Some people say the good old days. But I'll keep in between. But it's nice to give something back after I felt like I took something away from football. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was on the terraces and causing a bit of bother, but it's nice to put something back into the game now, which I feel I owe something to the game. You know what I mean?
Not only that, is that you're also at a non-league club, and just as you know, I follow a non-league club, Weymouth. So
yeah.
Just some questions, like you've said that your away trips have gone from $4,000 to $11,000. The cost of living crisis.
Well, yeah, you got all the bills.
This affects non-league football as well.
Oh, yeah, it's massive because the floodlights and all stuff like this.
Yeah,
electric have gone through the roof. Like we had the firework do on Friday nights, which is one of our biggest fundraisers of the year. We had about 600, 700, 800 people turn up. But normally we'll do the prize draw on the pitch, but we didn't this year because you have to put the floodlights on. It's saving us a few quid by just saving the floodlights for the firework night.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. We had to do the draw in the middle of the crowd. In the middle of the fun fair, and normally we do it in the middle of the pitch with the floodlights on. But you got to cut costs. You got to think this way, haven't you? It's saving you a few quid.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not a Man United, an Arsenal, a Tottenham, or someone with a lot of money that's being pumped into them, but now I hear that the Americans have bought Bournemouth, for instance, so they'll probably start rising up the ranks soon. But if you're a non-league club and, like you say, you really depend on your gate money, you depend on your fundraisers, and even away trips, paying for petrol and stuff, it's all in it, Gal.
That's right, mate. It's right. It's going to cripple some clubs.
Yeah.
Over the next year or two, it's going to cripple some. I mean, we're a community football club. We've got no bigger. I mean, Mick puts a few quid of his own pocket in. Obviously, he has done over the years, hell of a lot of money. But we ain't got no sugar daddy, really. You know what I mean?
No.
Like we got a club up the road called Baseford United. They're a step above us, but they've got like a quite a rich owner. He's bankrolled them for years. You know what I mean? So we ain't got no one like that keeps bankrolling us. It's all community. We do a lot of community stuff, work in the community as well, fundraising, food banks and stuff like that. You know, so the council help us out a little bit, Gedling Borough Council, because we do a lot for the council and stuff like that. We're reliant on people like that. You know, they helped us out with the firework night. You know, things like this. But that was a big money raiser for us on Friday night. So then we got the Christmas luncheon end of next month. We've got Mark Crosley coming down. That's always a sellout. That's the big fundraiser.
Oh, that'll be good. Yeah.
That's a good one.
I'll see him on YouTube.
In fact, we had that on a Friday afternoon, 1 till 5, and it's always a sellout, 100 people. And we raised a lot of money that night as well. But we're reliant on nights like these or afternoons like these. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we won't survive. Won't survive otherwise.
Yeah. No, more power to
fair play to the fair play to the Irish Supporters Club, Nottingham Forest Irish Supporters Club recently. They have an annual dinner in Ireland and they raise a lot of money. And normally it all goes to Irish charities over in Colorgan in Kerry. And the Grassroots picked us this year, Carlton Town, and gave us £2,000. What that?
Oh, fantastic. Big shout out to them then.
Yeah. Come at a better time for us. Fair play to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. A big shout out to them for doing that, you know, because like you say, non-league clubs, you know, sometimes if you haven't got a sugar daddy or you're not connected to a bigger club that's up the road, you are on your own. And
and like I say, I've got to give a big shout out to ex-footballers of Forest and that, you know, and local celebrities like boxers Lee Wood and Luke Fletcher, Notts Cricket Club. We have Ian Storey-Moore come down regular, ex-Man United, records British signing in the 70s, and all the ex-players, the European Cup winners, they all come down, help us out and do a talk before the game, get a few in the bar, and they all do it free of charge. You know what I mean? Little things like that help.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, if you can get someone in for free, of course it helps, because then you haven't got any overheads.
No, right.
And you've got everybody in the bar afterwards spending their money.
That's right, mate. That's right, yeah. And they'll spend time there, you know, and chat to everybody, sign autographs, have photos. And they give the afternoon up for free, which you can't fault them, can you?
No, absolutely fair play and a big shout out. Not everybody's in it for the dough, you know.
That's right. They're helping grassroots football, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They know where they come from. You know, I've had the Forest under-21 coach down there, Dave Rogers. Like, what a diamond he is. He's played football at the top level. You know, and he was Andy Reid's right-hand man. Andy's been promoted to the coaching staff at Forest now, but Dave took over. He's Alan Rogers' cousin. He comes down and helps us out. You know, brilliant. You know, it's fantastic what they do.
As you say, Gary, grassroots football, and that's where it all starts, where the kids play, where Gaz started when he was a young lad playing for, I think it was North Shields or whatever it was.
We played them last week away.
Okay, Gary. It's been fascinating to talk to you. It's been a long while. Like I say, it's been over a year. So we'll see Gary Boatsy Clarke on Italia 90 when football changed, which first airs on the 31st of October. Then the next episode will be on the 7th of November. And then the last one will be on the 14th of November. So that's been Gary Boatsy Clarke, and there'll be more videos coming from UK Casual soon.
Thanks, Matt. Cheers, mate.